I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, this season was ass. Demon Slayer was never really renowned for being a well-written story. Its appeal came from spectacular fight scenes, out-of-this-world animation, cinematography, pacing, and soundtracks. Take 90% of that away and you'll get a convoluted mess of filler, boring character interactions, plot holes, and a snooze fest of a story that we call the Hashira training arc. Excluding the final episode, so little of plot relevance happens that everything could have easily been compressed into 2 or 3 episodes, and then we could have moved on to the Infinity Castle arc. But no, Ufotable wanted to milk this cash cow of a series and gave up on any narrative consistency it established in the past 3 seasons. So today, I want to dive into all the good and all the bad, as well as how Out fixed most of the major issues about it. And also, I beg of you, before you start typing your heart out in the comment section, watch the video till the end. Alright, let's begin. Who is bro staring at? The season starts with Sanemi and Obanai exploring an abandoned mansion. We get to see their breeding styles, and the sequence ends with the demons disappearing into the Infinity Castle. It's a cool scene, but nothing major happened. You'll soon see why. Then we get a whole lot of yapping. Muichiro explains that he got the plot convenience mark when his heart reached 200 beats per minute and his body temperature 39 degrees. How does he know that without any proper tools to measure it? Because the plot needs it. Tanjiro is fully recovered and partakes in the Hashira training. We get this pretty awesome sequence where Tanjiro and Tengen have an awesome sword fight, but besides from the Gigguk backstory, nothing really happens in this episode. You'll soon see why. Next up, we pull up to Muichiro's crib and he's absolutely desolating all the beta swordsmen, which already brings me to a major issue I found in this season. Are there seriously no other talented Demon Slayer besides the Hashira and the main cast? Seriously? Are all of these Demon Slayers only meant to be one-dimensional canon fodder, meant to only establish how strong Tanjiro and the other characters are? This is very cheap and lazy writing, and what doesn't help is their character design. Have you ever went outside? Did you see how people look like? Can they just not be copy-pasted? Look at him! Bro, he has blue hair, blue eyes, and black hair. He has these sharp bangs. He has like, I don't even know what this is called. Look at this, motherfuckers. Yeah, they're all the same! Black hair, black eyes, same posture, same physique, same height. That's not how people look in real life. If we take a look at an example of a Japanese school that has people of the same race wearing the same thing, you can still see noticeable differences in how they look, smile, pose, face shape. I can almost guess their personalities based on this picture alone. Demon Slayer has nothing but jacked, copy-pasted characters who are all again to make our main character stand out. Oh. Oh. Oh no. Then we get a pretty cool sparring session. Fuck yeah! Some action, god damn! Yeah! Yeah! That is so fucking cool, dude. Whoa. I find it a bit unrealistic that this 14-year-old is taking on 2 21-year-olds at the same time, who are more experienced and have been Hashira for longer. But hey, Demon Slayer not making sense? That's a new one. That's right, it's the Prophet. Watch my parody if you want to understand that reference. That is really gay, dude. You just be staring at another man washing himself. That's hella gay, man. And he's 14. You're getting arrested. The episode continues, although I wish it didn't, because what happened was the most clinically insane thing I have ever seen. Okay, are we seriously doing a paper plane contract? Oh, but dude, please, dude. Oh my. What is this show? Tanjiro and Muichiro had a paper plane contest. Are you fucking with me? Are you genuinely fucking with me? Last episode, Obanai said that the Demon Slayers are weak and that this feels like a calm before the storm. And these motherfuckers have so little urgency that in their head they decide to have a paper plane contest? Bro, every second should be dedicated for either eating, resting, or training. This was so bizarre that I started browsing Reddit for answers, and they kept saying that this part was filler. So when the season was over, I read this arc in the manga, and like 70% of this was added by Ufotable. Obana and Sanemi sparring didn't happen, nor did Muichiro's, nor did Tengen's. Half of the training that we did was a panel or two long, and they were stretched out to 10-minute segments. Now it makes sense why this season had abominable pacing, because half of it is either extended to oblivion or not even canon. This really pissed me off, and I'm sure going on a tangent at the end of the video, but we need to cover more content for me to do that, so let's continue. Nothing really happened on Mitsuri's training. Obanai's training was also truly one of the trainings of all time.
Was that a children reference?
Then was Sanemi, who I thought had one of the only interesting moments in this entire season. It was his interaction with Genya and how he attacked them. That I found kind of fascinating. He doesn't want his last family member to die by the hand of another demon. But Sanemi is so fucking terrible at expressing his emotions, he'd rather paralyze them completely than let him continue fighting demons, which makes me really want to see more of their complex dynamic. Sadly, interesting character moments like these are traded for Zenitsu's unnecessary rambling. Nice, thank you very much, man. Next was the final Hashira Gyomei, where Inosuke and Zenitsu were also chilling at. I thought the boulder pushing idea was also kind of genius. Recalling traumatic moments, putting yourself in a lot of emotional stress, and essentially controlling your Demon Slayer mark was smart and pretty realistic. Eddie Hall, one of the strongest powerlifters in the world, was hypnotized into thinking the 500kg barbell was a car on top of his daughter, therefore he managed to lift it. Demon Slayers basically do the exact same thing. However, I do wish the consequences of that would be more thoroughly explored, especially since this concept is often used in exposure therapy, where repeated exposure to trauma-related stimuli in a controlled setting can help individuals process and cope with emotions. So essentially, Tanjiro would eventually become desensitized to his memories, as in a way he's processing these emotions, therefore it would eventually have less of an effect on him. I think a cool way of handling this would be that every time he did it, the less effective the mark would be, or the less time it'd be active, so he would need to do it sparingly, and he would need to constantly add new traumatic moments to get the same stimuli. But I'm expecting a bit too much realism from a story with talking crows and teleporting cats. Tanjiro finished pushing the boulder and almost fucking died. Who the fuck are you? You're not part of the team! Gyomei saves him though, and we get his backstory as well. I liked his backstory. I thought it was super compelling and pretty unique compared to what the other Demon Slayers have. And I also like when Demon Slayer gives us character exposition beforehand and not in the middle of their fight. The biggest issue I had with season 3 was that Muichiro, Genya, and Mitsuri were given long extended flashbacks in the middle of their fight, completely interrupting the pacing and the immersion I had in it. Gyutero's fight was so good because it didn't break the immersion. It was just non-stop action where the demons and slayers one-upped each other, which is why I really appreciate the exposition not being in the middle of a fight. Except one thing. How did Yuyashiki know he didn't kill the kids? It's not like he was a witness or that they had CCTV in the building. How did he know to trust Gyomei? Oh, it's because he's empathetic and he felt Gyomei's innocence. Shut the fuck up. But then, something really interesting happened. Tanjiro brought Zenitsu a home-cooked meal, and he didn't give him back a screaming response. He was locked the fuck in. Now, this was unexpected, but I have big issues with it, issues that you might not even expect, and I'm going to talk about it at the end of the video. For now, let's continue. Gyomei's training was over and we got to see Sanemi and Gigguk sparring for like 10 seconds before Tanjiro started another meaningless conversation, which ended up going nowhere. Again. Later that night, Sanemi caught one of Nakime's eyes, and that's when I realized the build-up has begun.
Oh shit. Oh my god.
What is he doing? He seems to be singing a lot of different songs at the same time. I think Muzan might be the candidate for an anime character with the most aura. Imagine the ending track ends and it starts playing again just so you can have a 3-minute walk animation. The conversation between him and Ubuyashiki that followed was bone-chilling. Man was standing on business. He didn't fear death and did everything he could to catch Muzan off guard. Even sacrificed his children.
Oh my god. What? He can control fire? Oh, that is pretty epic. What?
The production quality on the explosion was incredible. It's moments like this that make me love Demon Slayer for what it is. It was an incredible mix between CGI and hand-drawn animation. Ufotable has gotten so good at this that it's hard to recognize the difference, or well, it doesn't even bother me that it's CGI. I originally thought it was Muzan who controlled the fire, as I didn't think Ubuyashiki had the balls to do this, but I was wrong. Even Muzan started dick riding the shit out of him.
Bro, stop fucking... He's doing tricks on it! Shut the fuck up!
The following was just a spectacle beyond words, and I'm going to transform from Gabfr to live reactfr to give it proper justice.
Oh. Yes! Let's cook! Oh my god! Oh my god! Yeah, I think they can tell. Yeah. Oh my god!
The Infinity Castle opened, every Demon Slayer fell in, and I take it that all the upper moons will be there as well. After 7 episodes of torturous yapping, I was so hype and ready for the action to ensue. Until...
What?
That was it. 8 episodes, and the season was over. I was flabbergasted and read that they're going to adapt the rest of the manga in a movie trilogy. Now, I had very mixed feelings on this. First of all, anime movies are a problem for me, as theaters from Slovenia, where I am from, don't stream them. So I'm forced to watch them on the Blu-ray release, and even if they did, I could not make a video on it, as I cannot get the footage before the Blu-ray release, which usually happens months after the theatrical one. And that's long after the hype is already dead. This movie trilogy also only exists so Ufotable can earn as much money as possible, which isn't necessarily bad. I don't doubt the production quality will be insane, I'm hyped for it even. But in order for that to happen, they absolutely ruined this arc. It felt like they don't respect us as an audience, thinking that we'll just gobble down whatever they throw at us and call it peak fiction. The thing that makes Demon Slayer was the action, and besides episode 8, which was just the build-up, there was none of it. Oh, but I like this season, we got to know more of these characters! What is there to know about these characters? I never understood the hype behind them. Demon Slayer isn't a story that's supposed to be focused on characters. They, for the most part, aren't even compelling. They're tropes and characteristics that embody characters. Zenitsu isn't a coward. He's cowardice as a character. Tanjiro isn't kind. He's kindness as a character. Literally every character embodies a trait that is their character. Always emotionless, always obsessive, always stoic, always sad, always angry, always insane, always distracted, always happy. They literally just feel like emotions from inside out with zero personality. Now, this makes them very easily marketable, and there is nothing wrong if you like these characters. I would say they're likable 80% of the time, but their interactions overstay their welcome, especially in this season. As I said, they're likable, but not well written and compelling. And when you try to have profound, deep conversations between two one-dimensional characters, you get a boring mess of undynamic dialogue that tries too hard. Besides from Genya, Sanemi, and Gyomei, not a single character has flaws besides their skill level. Their backstories are also lazy and do not contribute to the plot whatsoever. They are only meant to give each character shallow motivation, so dumbasses in the comment section can say, "Oh, Muichiro is a compelling character. He got motivation when his brother died, and that's why he fights demons, and that's how he was able to awaken the Demon Slayer mark and fight Gyoko." Really? Let's break that down. Muichiro lost his brother in a demon encounter, which is a traumatic experience. But that first isn't very original, as Tanjiro, Genya, Shinobu, and Sanemi suffered the exact same fate. And when you repeat a story beat like that, it becomes less compelling and feels a lot more repetitive. But let's ignore that. The issue is that his brother's death barely has an impact on him. We never see him blaming himself for his death, or in the contrary, even being glad that he's dead, as his brother hated him. We see no emotional response, no turmoil or character arc, despite him being the only remaining member of his family. We see Genya and Sanemi suffer a similar fate, yet their characters remain severely affected by it, like Muichiro should have been as well, which in the end just means his brother was not a brother, but a plot device. A plot device that the author used to give Muichiro a cheap power-up to beat Upper 5. Muichiro is the embodiment of always distracted, bored, emotionless character trope, and not a compelling character. Same goes for Mitsuri, whose backstory is really sexist. She essentially joined the Demon Slayers to find a man who is stronger than her.
Wow, that's such a deep and profound character!
But okay, let me humor you. She struggles from beauty standards and rejection, especially since she eats a lot, is super strong, and does not conform with the standard definition of femininity is, which could be very compelling, as that is a serious problem women suffer from, unrealistic beauty standards, and her character could work if she maybe questions, am I pretty enough, or didn't believe when people told her that she is. She would constantly put off a persona of being this nice girl, but was really hurting on the inside. Obanai could be there to maybe help her embrace who she is as a person, as he does like her. But no, her deep and compelling character is traded for simple, wish-fulfilling fanservice, as she glazes every male character in the show. Let's continue with Tanjiro, our main character, who's supposed to be the most fleshed out in the entire series, but all we know is that he's super kind, hardworking, and likable. That's it. That's all he is. He never makes a mistake when his over-empathizing nature is more valid than what needs to be done. Every character strokes his cock 24/7. It's annoying. A way I would make him a more compelling character would be by saving somebody that later becomes a demon and harms others. You'd have to deal with the guilt, challenge his worldview, and experience a lot of emotional turmoil. But no, he stays a good kitty for the entire runtime of the series, and I wouldn't be surprised if he beat Muzan using the power of friendship. Want more examples? Let's go with the biggest missed opportunity of the entire series, who really did something unexpected. Locked in. But this wasn't the good type of unexpected. Imagine you go to work with shoes 2 sizes too small, spend 8 hours in there with your feet aching in pain, just for at the end of the day, take them off and feel that sweet, sweet relief. That's how Zenitsu locking in felt like. He was so annoying, obnoxious, and cowardice that it felt like a huge relief when he started taking everything seriously. But that's a weak excuse for character development, especially since I actually went ahead and read Zenitsu's fight in the manga to figure out what could have possibly made him change from a coward to a nonchalant badass. And I'm going to talk about it right now, so skip to this timestamp if you want to ignore manga spoilers, and also refrain from talking about this in the comments without a massive spoiler tag. 3, 2, 1, let's go. So Zenitsu's master Jigoro killed himself after his disciple Kaigaku turned into a demon. Zenitsu was notified of that via the letter, hence the serious face. Now, as much as this is a good idea on paper, Zenitsu, Kaigaku, and Jigoro barely interact in the entire series, and it feels so random and unearned that this is the reason he switches up. Let me remind you, he got poisoned, Rengoku died, the entire entertainment district got destroyed, Tengen became a crippled, and Inosuke got his heart pierced, and that didn't do jack shit for him. But when this old fart we barely know killed himself, that was the breaking point. That makes him go from 0 to 100. Character progression needs to be slow. Zenitsu would need to slowly realize that he can't live as a coward forever and change steadily. And as a cherry on top, it could be his fault that Kaigaku got turned into a demon, like if Zenitsu was too much of a coward and ran away from a confrontation with him by his side, and that's why Kaigaku got turned into a demon as a last resort of surviving. Just having Zenitsu turn from a pussy to a badass is not character development, it's lazy writing. I think you're starting to get the idea, and I could go on about these characters, like Inosuke, Rengoku, Kanao, Gyu, and how underdeveloped they are, especially since we are in the endgame, and there are still other characters I know nothing about, like Shinobu and Obanai. How can you spend so much screen time as 3 seasons and a feature-length movie, and you still have underdeveloped characters? This is madness, it's insane! And I know exactly what's going to happen. They will get a flashback in the middle of their fight in the Infinity Castle, awaking their Demon Slayer mark, and either win like Muichiro or die like Rengoku. Not to mention the 4 remaining Demon Slayers who still need to be fleshed out. Emirichu is still a mystery, and oh my god, we're going to get so many flashbacks. But as I was saying, these characters lack depth for an arc like Hashira Training. To base it solely on their interactions, Demon Slayer is popular because of its action and easily digestible plot. There is nothing else this anime is worth watching for. Even the previous seasons, especially the third one, had notorious writing problems like interrupting flashbacks I mentioned earlier, atrocious ass pulls like thunder breathing, Demon Slayer marks, Muichiro and Tengen surviving the poison, and the worst contender, Nezuko beating the sun, which was defended by people saying, "Oh, now Muzan has motivation to infiltrate and eat Nezuko so he'll be immune to the sun." Bro, that's the motivation you need? Let me remind you that your 5th strongest moon that was more than 100 years old was defeated by a 14-year-old. Should that not be enough motivation to stop whatever the fuck you're doing and destroy the Demon Slayer corpse immediately? And don't give me the, "Oh, he was underestimating them." He literally told Akaza that a demon beating a human is the standard, and that's something that he should not be proud of. Wouldn't it make sense that if somebody so young was able to kill somebody so skilled, you maybe would have considered him a serious threat? Especially somebody who dislikes change, and a 14-year-old beating a literal demigod type being that was Gyoko sounds like something that requires urgent interference. The wiki says Muzan is cold-hearted, ruthless, and intimidating, as well as exceptionally intelligent. What do you mean? Every exceptionally intelligent person will try to stop them immediately. You have a pocket dimension at your disposal, which is so far as explained to have no limits whatsoever. Nakime can just teleport anybody in and out all they want, whenever they want, as long as they know their location. Wouldn't you think that maybe if you found Muichiro, it maybe would have been wise to teleport him, catch him off guard, and kill him? And maybe do that for every character one by one. It requires 2 to 3 Hashiras to kill an upper moon, so why teleport them all at the same time and give them a chance to do that? Maybe, just maybe, if you're really exceptionally intelligent, you should take more a strategic approach. Gather all your upper moons in one space and let Nakime search out every Hashira, teleport them, and then kill them one by one. Or maybe do the exact same thing you did at the end of episode 4, but instead of leaving Muzan vulnerable in the castle with everybody, teleport them out and just let the Hashira starve to death, or just kill them with gravity, or squeeze them with your buildings, or maybe stop any major event in the previous story from happening by just teleporting the characters and killing them. We know so little about the limitations of the Infinity Castle that you could call it the Infinity Plot Hole, and it hurts me the most that this is so easy to fix from our writing perspective. I'll literally reenact the scene now. I found the problematic boy who killed Gyoko. Is that so? I'll take care of him personally. Teleport him here. I can't because of X, Y, and Z. All these 3 conditions must be met first. This literally takes 5 seconds, and you can establish the rules of her powers and make sure that Muzan doesn't look like a total moron, who instead of strategically planning out their demise, walks up to Yubiyashiki like a child throwing a tantrum, expecting that the organization capable of killing his upper moons won't have a plan to stop him. And now you've been poisoned and threw these exceptional humans into the Infinity Castle to slaughter your upper moons along with you. How delusional do you have to be? And it's so easy for Demon Slayers to avoid some of the biggest writing inconsistencies if the author just took more time to flesh out the story in their head. It feels like the author had a rough idea on what she wanted to do and just started making the story without any proper planning. Foreshadowing is impossible when the author doesn't even know what direction the story is going to. That's why Nezuko surviving the sun was such a plot convenience. It wasn't foreshadowed. No, Tamayo saying her blood is different and her not having to eat humans does not make her be able to survive the sun. Stop coping. In her defense though, I heard that she had to rush the ending due to personal health issues, and while that is acknowledged, it doesn't defend her from any of my criticism. Don't even try to comment that. If you're an incompetent writer that cannot write deep and profound characters, that's okay. Just focus on making them likable and nothing more than that, and then lock in on what you're good at. So Demon Slayer, that would be action sequences, which is what this anime is known for. If this story had a power system as well as fleshed out as cursed energy with animation as incredible as ufotable, just lock in on the action and make this series a cinematic spectacle instead of trying to make it smarter than it is. And before you go typing out in the comments your opinion, I want to address some pretty consistent criticism I get whenever reviewing anime like Demon Slayer, which is completely invalid. Bro watched anime from YouTube Shorts. This is a logical fallacy called ad hominem, in which you attack my personality instead of countering my argument. Could you write the manga this good? This is again the same logical fallacy, where you attack my personality instead of countering my argument. Yeah, I get why you don't like X, but X was explained in the manga. You cannot dismiss my argument by saying this was better explained in the manga, as I am critiquing the anime, Ufotable's adaptation, not the manga. Yeah, I get why you think X is a plot hole, but X was explained in the anime. If something is explained, it doesn't mean it's well written. This is called the false dichotomy. This argument assumes that the explanation alone determines the writing quality, ignoring the critical aspects of good writing. Demon Slayer Mark, for example, was established to awaken when the characters are put under the severe amount of stress. Their temperature rises and heart rate increases. That's all true. However, it's still a weak excuse for a power-up with no consequences, no drawbacks that can happen when the plot needs it to. It allows underpowered characters to win in unbeatable scenarios, defeats the stakes, and undermines the narrative's consistency. If I see a single comment referring to any of these 4 logical fallacies, I'm killing myself. If you have any other takes on my criticism, please let me know in the comments. I genuinely want to know what you guys think of it, because from how it stands, I cannot give this season anything more than a 3 out of 10. And for the final words, there's nothing wrong if you like Demon Slayer. One of my favorite shows is objectively definitely not a masterpiece, but the emotional impact it had on me was so incredible, which is why I love it so much. Feel free to call Demon Slayer a 10 out of 10, or even this season a 10 out of 10 if you love it that much. You're entitled to your opinion. Just don't rationalize your emotions and call it peak fiction, as it is mediocre at best. But it's okay to love a story that isn't perfect, as long as you acknowledge its flaws and say, yeah, this story may be poorly written, but I still love it regardless. If you're looking for some peak fiction though, I essentially rewrote the first half in Demon Slayer in my parody, which you should definitely check out. It's one of my favorite videos, and I guarantee it'll give you a good laugh. I've also hit 100,000 subscribers, and in the pinned comment, there is a Google Docs document where you can ask me any questions, because I'll soon be organizing a Q&A. Make sure the questions are funny, subscribe for more bizarre content, and thank you so much for watching my Gabfrusies.